I'm going to follow a recipe in a cookbook today because this cookbook, among a few others like Julia Child's cookbooks, I trust because I know he tests his recipes. This is Gordon Ramsay's Ultimate Cookery Course. It's on my tablet and it's kind of a little bit funky because it's in a Ziploc bag to keep it clean because I'm going to use this for reference in my kitchen. And what I want to make today is his Szechuan chicken thighs. And one issue I have right away is he says this feeds 4, but he's using 8 chicken thighs. I don't know how big the chicken thighs are that he's using, but I bought some chicken thighs at the store last night, trimmed them. They're big chicken thighs. One of those easily will feed a person. 2 is like grotesque. It's too much. But I want to do this, and I'm going to actually cook up 10. I'm going to do all 10 chicken thighs because that's what's in the package. And then that meat I'll portion afterwards, put it away in the freezer, and use those for what I call my minute meals. So let's make this Szechuan chicken thighs. The recipe calls for 1 red chili, deseeded, and finely chopped. They didn't have any red chilies in the store last night, so I'm going to work with a dry chili, but I have to get those seeds out. See all those seeds? So this is going to take me a minute to open this up and get all the seeds out. All right, so there are all my seeds right there. Put the stuff in a bowl. Because then what I need to do is I need to chop these up. It says finely chopped. So into a bowl, I placed a Ziploc bag. I'm going to put my peppers in there, my chili. And then to this, I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of soy sauce. 2 tablespoons of rice wine. If you can't find rice wine, you can use dry sherry. That's actually what I'm using. And then 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar. I'm going to put a pinch of salt in there. And grind in some black pepper. All right. So this is what tells me that he was using very small chicken thighs. I mean, look at the size of these chicken thighs. And I've only got a small amount of marinade there. And this is supposed to be enough for 8 chicken thighs. The directions say to cut each thigh into 3 pieces and place them in the marinade. All right, that's an awful lot of chicken for such a small amount of marinade, which is down in the bottom there. Let's see what happens. I'm going to seal this bag, and I can always add more liquid to it. Make sure that's properly sealed. I'm also going to kind of manipulate this around because I want to stir up those ingredients. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to mention, as far as the chili pepper I'm using, it's a California chili. Because as far as I know, it's the mildest of red chilies. I'm a bit of a wimp when it comes to hot chili spice. I'm kind of like Anderson Cooper in a way. He doesn't like hot spice either. What do I think about this? More or less? You know what? I think I'm just going to go with that as is. I'm going to let this marinate for 30 minutes, and at the end of 15 minutes I'm going to turn it over to let that marinade flavor the chicken from the other side. While I was waiting for that chicken to marinate, I did some prep work. You're going to need some ginger, fresh ginger root. That's what he recommends. He says a 4 centimeter, which is about 1.5 inches, a 4 centimeter piece of fresh ginger root. I don't know how thick or thin it was. What I ended up with, I used a microplane grater to do this, and I ended up with about 3/4 teaspoon of grated ginger. And since I was using my grater, I might as well use it for the garlic. 2 to 3 cloves garlic, depending upon how big they are. He says peeled and sliced. I had the grater out, so I just used it. I ended up with 1 teaspoon, generous 1 teaspoon of minced or grated garlic. And then finally, the freshly ground zest of 1/2 of an orange. I ended up with about 1/2 teaspoon there. I've got a cast iron skillet heating on the stove here, so I'm going to be putting in some oil. Good generous helping of, I'm using corn oil, any kind of oil for frying should be good. Okay. And then I'm going to put my ginger in there. The garlic. And cook that lightly. I don't want to brown that garlic because it'll get bitter. So I actually just turned my heat off. I'm just using the residual heat in that pan to cook that garlic. I can smell it already. That's what my directions say. My directions say less than a minute. Then I'm going to add the orange peel to that. Before I add the chicken, I'm just going to coarsely grate some pepper in there, just a little bit. All right. Bring my heat back up. And then, as I have room, I'm going to add my chicken pieces to this pan. And I probably have to do these in more than one batch. I actually reduced the time here to 15 minutes because these looked like they were doing so well. And I want to turn these pieces over, and I think I'm going to go another 10 minutes. These are probably cooked all the way through already, but just to make certain. And I'm going to cook these the second time with the lid off because I want to reduce that liquid a little bit. And then I have my other pieces yet to cook. How I would serve this, because this is the way I like to eat foods like this. Put some rice in a bowl. That should be enough. And then put the chicken pieces. I cut these up a little bit because I thought they're just a little bit too large. I have friends from China. They're actually from China, Dalian. And they wouldn't eat huge pieces of, I mean, they would, but this is not how they would serve, or those large pieces is not how they would serve it. They would serve bite-sized pieces like that could be easily picked up with chopsticks. And then I strained a little bit of that liquid from the pan. Pour that over the top. And that is Gordon Ramsay's Szechuan chicken. All right, let's see what I've got here. Looks delicious. Smells delicious. It is delicious. I'm noticing a very, very mild chili pepper flavor to it, which is how I like it, which is the reason why I use California chili. The thing with like heat, spicy heat, chicken is so mild that you can really spice it up if you want. You can throw jalapenos in there if you want, even hotter peppers, but they take away the flavor of the chicken. It should be mild because the chicken is mild. One more piece here. That is very good. Okay, excuse me, I'm going to go enjoy an early dinner of my Szechuan chicken thighs.